Let's move you to one of the big stories we're tracking for you this hour, and that's the story of the Gauteng Finance and Economic Development MEC, Lebogang Maile, who is addressing the media about the Spaza Shop Registration process. Now, he's expected to explain the next step for shop owners who have already registered and those who have yet to sign up. Let's take you there live.
Regulations to protect communities. The President outlined 3 critical interventions to be implemented with immediate effect. The objective of these interventions was to get hazardous pesticides off the streets, to protect children from exposure to these substances, and to prevent future outbreaks. To ensure compliance, the President issued a directive that all Spaza shops and food handling facilities were to register with their respective municipalities within 21 days, emphasizing that any shop that was not registered within the stipulated period and does not meet all health standards and requirements was to be closed. The deadline was subsequently extended on the 18th of December 2024, following consultations with various stakeholders, and the final deadline for registration was moved to the 28th of February 2025. Since the announcement of this registration program, the Gauteng provincial government has held monthly media briefings to update residents of the province about developments pertaining to the registration drive. And during the most recent briefing on the 2nd of February 2025, an update was given on the progress of applications, including digitization efforts, inspections conducted, and training interventions provided by provincial government. In addition to this, we outlined joint plans by Gauteng municipalities anchored on the Joint Action Plan, as well as the support provided by National Department of Small Business Development. In this final update, we will provide the final quantitative data over the past 3 months, outline the next steps in the registration process, and provide information on how we intend to sustain the monitoring and evaluation component on a long-term basis. This will ensure adherence to sustained compliance measures so that the crisis does not repeat itself in the future. As a starting point, it is important to express sincere gratitude to owners of Spaza shops and food handling facilities who heeded the call to apply for the registration of their enterprises. This program was the first large-scale Spaza shop registration drive in the democratic dispensation. The patience of Spaza shop owners in following the process, which at times necessitated numerous visits to registration centers and the use of personal resources, must be commended. Officials across all tiers of government, national, provincial, and local, must also be commended for their dedication to ensuring a seamless registration process despite the complexity of the undertaking. Operating at just over 90 registration sites across the province, officials went beyond the call of duty to ensure that Spaza shop owners receive information needed and spend countless hours taking Spaza shop owners through the process in detail. This expression of Batupili principle reflects the commitment of our public servants and is greatly appreciated. The Gauteng provincial government would also like to extend sincere gratitude to Professor Hannah Andrea Rotha, the head of Environmental Health Division in the School of Public Health at the University of Cape Town, whom we consulted to gain deeper knowledge on the subject of pesticide. Input helped us in determining the approach to the elimination of the identified pesticides in the death and hospitalizations of children in the province. As of the 28th of February 2025, the total number of applications for the registrations by Spaza shops and food handling facilities across the Gauteng province is 17,617. This includes 7,107 applications by foreign nationals across all municipalities, with the city of Joburg having the highest number of applications. The city of Ekurhuleni has the highest number of applications by foreign nationals, with a total of 2,543 applications received. Applications are approved following inspections. A total of 29,116 inspections have been conducted thus far. Some of these inspections precede the President's announcement, with the Gauteng provincial government having started them as far back as July 2024. According to South African laws, spaza shops and food handling facilities need to apply for and have a certificate of acceptability. This is a mandatory food business permit that is issued under Regulation R638, confirming compliance with basic food safety and hygiene requirements for food premises handling and transportation. A total of 4,610 of these certificates have been approved and or issued to spaza shops and food handling facilities as of the 28th of February 2025, with 128 of these issued to foreign nationals. The approval process is extensive and is preceded by the inspection of business premises as well as verification of documentation. The approved or issued certificates are lower than the number of applications for registration owing to the undertaking of this process. Other factors that have impacted the number of approvals include the submission of fraudulent documentation, delays in the verification of foreign nationals by National Department of Home Affairs, incomplete documentation, the contravention of building regulations on the part of business owners, and the high cost of business licenses. With regard to the high cost of business licenses, the Gauteng provincial government is exploring various mechanisms to support locally owned or complying enterprises. These include the allocation of funds under the Inclusive Economy Program to support compliant spaza shop owners who meet the requirements. Additionally, we are exploring funding options or cooperative social responsibility approaches through the private sector or fast-moving consumer goods companies who have a direct business relationship with spaza shops. Prior to the Spaza Shop Registration Program, there were legitimate concerns raised by South Africans about the over-concentration of foreign-owned spaza shops and food handling facilities in Gauteng townships. These concerns were not ignored by the Gauteng provincial government in complying with South African laws on enabling foreign nationals to operate businesses within the country. The provincial government, working with municipalities, also sought to protect the interest of local businesses and communities. We recognize the value in supporting local businesses and challenging unfair business practices that displaces locals in the spaza shop industry. Part of making sure that foreign-owned businesses do not strangle locals out of the industry is to ensure compliance, not only in the enterprise themselves, but also in the status of the foreign nationals running these enterprises. As stated, 7,107 applications were received from foreign nationals. Foreign nationals were required to provide valid documentation from the National Department of Home Affairs, giving them authorization to operate businesses in South Africa. This was in the form of a valid business visa or work permit. The eligibility for a business visa as per South African law is that a foreign national must invest a prescribed amount into the existing business or provide a business plan with evidence of 5 million capital contribution. Foreign nationals may establish a business which is of national interest to South Africa as stipulated in the Industrial Policy Action Plan, for which there is no minimum capital investment required. While the Department of Home Affairs is the custodian of the business visa process, the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition facilitates the recommendations of support for granting businesses which have substantive economic impact. Working with the said departments and law enforcement, the Gauteng provincial government has clamped down on illegal trade and undocumented foreign nationals operating enterprises in townships. This will continue beyond the closure of the registration drive to ensure that South African laws are not broken by foreign nationals seeking to conduct business within the borders of our country. Non-compliance has been a salient challenge in the registration program. A total of 15,478 Spaza shops and food handling facilities have been deemed non-compliant, with 498 of these closed with immediate effect. While non-compliance in many instances was the result of failure to adhere to food safety and environmental safety standards, in some instances, certificates of acceptability could not be issued to Spaza shop owners and food handling facilities owing to their location in undeclared townships. Township establishment is a multifaceted procedure that requires adherence to a prescribed set of processes and follow-ups and must be overseen by a skilled and registered town planner. It also requires coordination with other disciplines, including geologists, land surveyors, civil and electrical engineers, etc. Various assessments must be conducted, including but not limited to environmental impact assessments and traffic impact assessments. In some cases, the properties in question may be agricultural holding on which, by law, townships cannot be established. In this instance, reverting the property to a farmland is a prerequisite preliminary step on which one which is followed by an extensive approval processes for the exertion of holding. This generally takes at least 2 months. In cases where township proclamation is not yet completed, as is the case in some townships, municipalities will be issuing temporary permits whilst the proclamation process is being undertaken. In some instances, such as where structures are erected on critical public infrastructure, there will be a need for demolition in order to protect this critical infrastructure that services our communities. In such cases, demolition will only proceed where regularization cannot be achieved. It is important to restate that our approach to this matter is developmental. Demolishing structures is our last resort, as we recognize the financial and economic implications of such an intervention. The Gauteng provincial government will only opt for this resort when there is absolutely no possibility for regularization and where the cost of keeping the structures far outweighs the benefit to communities in the immediate and long term. Micro enterprises are predominantly owned and managed by individuals who belong to historically underprivileged groups. The implication is that many such individuals do not have necessary training needed to run compliant enterprises. However, this does not negate their ability to acquire this training and improve on their business operations. As such, in line with our pro-poor developmental agenda, the Gauteng provincial government instituted various training interventions for Spaza shop and food handling facilities owners. These training programs focused on principles and practices of food safety and hygiene. The number of training interventions undertaken to date stands at 2,028, with an additional 7,801 informal traders and food handlers reached by training interventions. The number of training interventions provided, while significant, has been hampered by the low capacity of environmental health practitioners across Gauteng municipalities. South Africa's national fiscus is constrained due to various factors that include but not limited to market volatility and socio-economic challenges, including unemployment. These structural issues have a direct impact on the provincial fiscus and, by extension, on our ability to direct resources towards the employment of these inspectors. This inability to create environmental health practitioners' roles to budget constraints has lessened the training interventions implemented. However, the Gauteng provincial government continues to maximize these training interventions with available resources and partnerships, including with governmental organizations working, non-governmental organizations working in our communities. The end of the Spaza shop and food handling facilities deadline does not imply complacency on the part of Gauteng provincial government in terms of ensuring continued compliance. One of the key challenges that have given rise to the challenges of non-compliance by Spaza shops in Gauteng is that most structures used for Spaza shops do not meet building control, zoning rights, and environmental health standards. Municipalities will continue to intervene in this through the deployment of building inspectors, environmental health officers, local economic development officers, fire inspectors, as well as town and regional planners. Additionally, noting that some Spaza shops and food handling facilities continue to operate even after prohibition orders are issued, law enforcement will continue to play a critical role with prosecutions encouraged by the Gauteng provincial government. The South African Police Services, National Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure, and the Provincial Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure will continue to provide the necessary support. The aim of this is not to be punitive, but to ensure that local enterprises meet the highest standard of safety so as to prevent the recurrence of the crisis that has wreaked havoc in communities. The Gauteng Department of Economic Development has been hosting regional township commercial property owners Imbizo. The aim of these Imbizos is to deliberate on the ownership of properties in townships and the challenges encountered by owners with regard to zoning requirements. Other issues for discussion have been the regularization of properties built without zoning permits, exploring conditions under which municipalities allow for regularization. The envisaged outcome of these Imbizos is to develop a deeper understanding of the issues influencing township commercial property rental market, to map a collective program of action aimed at improving trading operational conditions in the townships, to optimally use space in the township to enhance manufacturing capacity and streamline supplier value chains, to create a credible and reliable database of township-owned enterprises, including economic assets, the coordination of all of government efforts towards impactful interventions of the township economy, and to position engagement to educate communities on compliance requirements. In addition to this, the department relaunched the Condisishini Lako campaign as a comprehensive program to address all aspects of illegality prevalent in the township economy. The campaign assumed a developmental approach to promoting compliance. Its approach anchored on collaboration across various stakeholders playing a critical role in community development. Whilst focus has been on the extent to which businesses comply with licensing permits and health conditions, the conditions of properties used in business operations must also be compliant with zoning regulations in local government. While the 28th of February 2025 marked the deadline for the submission of applications for Spaza shops and food handling facilities, registration process has been closed, and the ongoing process is for those who want to start new businesses, not those who are operating, as it was explained. We want to give reassurance to Gauteng communities that this program was not a box-ticking exercise or a spontaneous response to the illnesses and death that occurred in the past year. Rather, it is a long-term undertaking that seeks to not only ensure the compliance enterprises operating in our townships, but also ensure the protection and promotion of locally owned Spaza shops that can coexist with compliant and lawful enterprises owned by foreign nationals. Gauteng is a nerve center of the national and regional economy, and Spaza shops play a significant role in the development and growth of the provincial economy. However, their operations must adhere to the laws of the land. In the State of the Province address tabled by Premier Lesofie on the 24th of February 2025, the issue of lawlessness was identified as one of the key challenges confronting the province. Alleviating crime in the province, which is a prerequisite for building a functional and prosperous society, is dependent on adherence to laws governing trade and industry. Compliance Spaza shops and food handling facilities are not only important for ensuring food safety and preventing illnesses and death, they are also important for attracting investment into the province, without which it will not be possible to build an inclusive economy that will serve as a foundation for sustainable development. On the 3rd of April 2025, we will be hosting the Gauteng Investment Conference in Johannesburg, and this conference will catalyze the province's economic momentum and promote Gauteng as a leading global investment and tourism destination. The registration of Spaza shops and food handling facilities is a critical component of the objectives that we wish to accomplish with this conference, because Spaza shops are an important part of our township economy, which can only grow through local and global investments. Therefore, this registration program goes beyond addressing immediate challenges and speaks to our long-term developmental strategy. Thank you very much.
Number 1, number 2, number 3.
Name and media house.
Number 4. Please introduce yourself and the institution you come from. Thank you. Number 1, sir.
Shannon Merrick, SABC Broadcasting Africa. And I think there's been a disinformation campaign against the government by the media. Over the past 2 days, there have been reports in different media houses that government has not communicated the Spaza Shop registration process and all that. And I'm happy it was highlighted the time frame from 15 November when the president gave the extension and so on. So my first plea is for those in the media to not spread this, because the government has communicated. Having said that, the mistake was created, or the problem before these foreigners, I'm coming to my question, I'm just laying a foundation, thank you. Before the kids were poisoned, the problem started by health inspectors, building inspectors, regional directors not doing their job. That's why we are where we are. That's why foreigners were able to own Spaza shops, register and so on. So I would just like to find out, will the government deal with this, regional directors and these people still in government today spreading the information on media platforms, government officials, saying there wasn't enough information. Region G was on SABC, others were on Newsroom Africa, the media people can check those things. My question with Spaza Shop Registration, MEC, the cost is very important. You know, to register Spaza Shop compliance costs 25,000, building plans 15,000, double-story garage to building 35,000, stock 50,000. So for any new business, I'm talking of the new ones now, it will cost a person in township Tandi or Tabo 150,000 to start the Spaza shop. How will the government provide non-financial and financial support to the new registration? Last but not least, MEC, you're young, you're doing a good job, but we see you've been reshuffled in Gauteng, ANC. Can you respond to that as well? Thank you.
MEC, do you think government could have made this this registration process any less complex? Because a number of businesses have complained that it wasn't, or business owners, that it wasn't necessarily seamless. Thus, a number of them were left behind. So could it have been less complex?
Okay, yeah, okay.
MEC, just 2 questions for clarity. During this process that you undertook, was it one individual, for example, that has 10 Spaza shops, or was it, separate registration processes for each and every individual Spaza shop? And then the plan of action going forward, is it going to be the same process that we've seen? I see people speaking about the complexity. Is it going to be a simpler process, or is it going to be more complex going forward? You mentioned the SOPA as well. I just want to check with you. We spoke a couple of months ago about income streams for the provincial government to alleviate those fiscal constraints that we speak of. How far are those plans? What are those plans? If you're able to give us clarity on that. Thank you so much.
I just wanted a few clarifications, especially on the numbers, because they're quite confusing. So you're saying that you have received 17,670 and that number for in regards to applications. I just want to understand how many have been approved. And I'm seeing that you're also saying that there was 4,610 COAs. Is that from the 17,000, or is that just a separate measure on its own? And then I just want to also get clarity on these being fraudulent accusations, not accusations, but the government has reported there are multiple people who are coming out with false documents, admitting them to various municipal centers. I wanted to know what exactly is being done about that, and if there is a number on how many so far that the department has kind of recorded in this, and also whether or not did you guys foresee such a problematic error coming up.
No, thanks for the questions. Yeah, I think when you read our statement, you'll realize it's comprehensive deliberately. And we take you through the journey from when we started and even hence we also give you numbers there about our the work which we started in July 2024 to show you that we were not responding only to the crisis that befell us as a country. But this is part of the work that we do as a provincial government, and especially the Department of Economic Development. And of course, it's easy for people to say that government has not been communicating. So I've seen a lot of people in the media, Spaza Shop owners, saying we didn't know this and all that. And perhaps the question might be whether the communication channels that we are using are sufficient or not. Because the fact that we are talking to the media, it does not mean that everyone is able to consume the content through the media. Some people, for a number of reasons, including lack of affordability for data, they are not able to be on social media, they are not able to be on mainstream media. And I think that's what must be looked at, and not say government has not been communicating, and perhaps say if our communication is enough or not. So the cost of registration, it differs from municipality to municipality. It's not the same price, so we shouldn't assume that to start a Spaza shop is 150,000. That would be a wrong assumption. But we have recognized that even if it was to be 10,000 or even if it's 5,000, there are people who are unemployed and who don't have that money. So it's not whether it's 5,000 or 150,000. The issue is how do we help people who want to start businesses, and especially entrepreneurs. Because if you get the right entrepreneurs, you'll be able to create jobs, you'll be able to grow the economy. Without discouraging other people. But that work is continuous, and that's why in Gauteng we've got the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller. Yeah, I think the ANC matters, ANC will deal with them themselves. They are better equipped to do that. Well, Ponzo, I'm not sure what it means for the process to be less complex. I think one of the things we did was to try to make it as accessible as possible. As I was saying, we've got almost 90 registration centers. So we tried to be visible and present in every part of the province and to be as close to communities as possible. So in terms of access, that will be the first thing. And then it will also vary from one municipality to next. So it's not like you've got one standard registration process. Some of the big municipalities have got the digitized systems. Some of the small municipalities might not have enough resources for this or that. So, and there must be an appreciation that this was the, I think, first biggest registration process in the country since 1994. There's never been. So, obviously, there was going to be challenges, and I think the most important thing is to learn, is to draw lessons from this and learn from those lessons. Well, there are people who've got 10 Spaza shops, 20, 30, whatever, but when you register shop 1-1. If you have 10, 20, I even come across that, but my understanding is that when you register shop by shop. You don't register all of them because if there are 10, they are definitely not in the same place. So they are in different places. So there's a requirement for different places. I will be giving a budget speech on the 18th of March after the minister would have given budget. So let's not preempt my budget speech, and because in the budget speech I'll tell you how much we have in the Gauteng government coffers and what we are going to do to increase whatever. So I will be speaking about that in the budget speech. Otherwise, you won't come if I tell you now. So I want to keep you in suspense so that you come to the budget speech. It's on the 18th of March. And then the numbers are not confusing. You see 17,000 plus. It's the number of people who have submitted, or rather who have collected forms. The other number you see of about 4,000, it's from that number. It's people who got those compliance certificates. The other number you see there, 1,000 whatever, it's the number of people who have been their applications have been approved. Means they meet all the. So the 17,000 plus is the number of people who came, and then you'll see there's another number of 26,000 something. It's the number of visits we had, the Spaza shops that we went to as government. So apart from the 17 who came, there's 26,000 that we went to. So when you combine that number, you'll see the number of Spaza shops that we would have reached out to. And because from the onset we had appreciation of the limitations in communication and the fact that we can't just communicate through social media and mainstream media, we must also go to people. So I hope it clarifies your question about the numbers. And then, yeah, well, false documents, and I think I'd like the MMCs to deal with them, because in Mfuleni, MMC Ganso will have a separate experience. MMC Mabuza and Tshwane will have a separate experience, and I think it will be important to get those experiences from the municipalities, because Mfuleni, it's a relatively smaller by budget, Tshwane bigger by budget and population. So I think that will give you a better sense of what is happening. So MMCs, and of course, when we enter into a process, we hope that there will be no criminal activities, but there was criminal activity, and we took a decision as a meeting of the MEC and MMCs, which was held yesterday, that we must not only disqualify those who have falsified their documentation, we must also open criminal cases against them. MMC? So I must start with Tshwane, because Tshwane has a bigger budget. Yeah. Yeah,
thanks, MEC and media. Yes, with regard to the fraudulent document in Tshwane, we are experiencing a lot of it, because in other instances, you'll find that one business owner come with, let's say, an unsigned document, then they replicate it. The only thing that they do change is just the photo. Yes, that's how bad it is. And in other instances, the proof of res, they do have a system where we're linking it with Home Affairs. And that system is also helping us in terms of trying to cap this corruption, I'll call it, that is coming. But remember, this is just going to be the first process, the registration. And we're still going to go through the vigorous one where we'll be checking each and every application as to whether it does comply or not. But the ones that already committed, I would say, a fraud, MEC has spoken, we are going to eliminate them, then we're going to open criminal cases against them. Thank you.
Thank you. MMC Council.
Thank you very much. I think on our side, from Mfuleni, what we have experienced is people who are duplicating the stamps of the municipality. Some people are duplicating the signatures. I have reported, I think, in our joint operations with the MEC that we had to take steps to one official who was collecting the forms of the foreign nationals in bulk, and then even issuing the letters of acknowledgement, because you'll see that there's various departments that are supposed to submit their comments, that are supposed to do due diligence. And then we find that this official, instead of processing some of these things, he just gave them the acknowledgement letters, which was not part of their work. And that shows that there is something that is not right. And then the answer was that no, the foreign nationals, they are afraid to come and register because there is that and that, and he was assisting them. So those are some of the similar problems that we were getting. And then the last part of the people is just people who were just trying to, like you were asking, that can't we have made the process a bit more easier? As the MEC was indicating, you'll find that the only two things that are a bit needing some lot of work is the issue of the zoning and the building controls. The rest, your fire, there are no tariffs, your health, there are no tariffs. It's just to make sure that at least those people who are consuming food, we have to guarantee their safety, because how do you allow people to threaten the lives of people? It's just to check their floors are in order. Because if you operate in a dusty shop, you can imagine the dust, the illnesses, and so forth. So those were the ones that I can only say. But the rest of the things is just to make sure that everything it is in order. That is why the MEC emphasized the outreach program to the property owners, because a number of people are renting to the property. They are not necessarily owners of the properties. And the MEC went all out just to make sure that the property owners are also covered. Other than that, I think the process has been moving well, and communication has been done. Radio stations, and when this thing was announced, as the MEC was saying, it got attraction. So almost everybody was aware that there is this thing coming. Thank you very much. That's what I can say.
Yeah. So you could hear the differences of the Mfuleni experience and the Tshwane experience. And that's why I said the MMCs must speak. Yeah.
This is the last round. Yeah. You are 1, you are 2, you are 3.
I just would like to clarify on what you just said right now. So are you saying that there was an official review office that was kind of helping the foreign nationals to basically register their names, because you're saying that they were afraid of the registration process? I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, just note it, and then you can take the second one.
Number 2.
Lini was Spaza from ESCA. Mine is a clarity seeking question, MEC. You say the ongoing process, right, beyond the 28th February deadline is for people who want to open businesses, so these are new businesses. But when we spoke to a few business owners, they indicated that some have started the process but couldn't complete the process during that period that was given. Should they then abandon the applications, or will they be allowed to continue with that registration process?
Shannon Merrick, SABC Broadcasting Africa. MSC, the statement says a foreign national must have 5 million or must have an existing business plan showing evidence of 5 million. Then the same statement says 128 foreigners were issued with with license, certificates, whatever. Does it mean this 128 foreign nationals that got certificates, they have 5 million or they have the business plan of 5 million? We just need clarity on that one. Thank you.
Well, let me start with the last one. I wouldn't know, and that's why I'm stating what the law requires. So we wouldn't expect that municipalities will do wrong things. They know what process must be followed, and you would have heard the MMC of Tshwane saying that they are working with Home Affairs. Yeah, so I just stated that because we have stated that fact from day one, and municipalities are responsible for. So I don't want to venture into a debate whether they must be allowed or not allowed and all that. I'm just giving you facts so that you can be able to report to the people who consume your information in terms of what is happening, so that you don't speculate. Because once we make it a secret and you start speculating that there are foreign nationals who received or not received licenses, then it becomes a problem. So here we are confirming that there's 128 who have been in the province approved. So that's the point. And then Lindiwe, I think that's a good question, because you can't say someone who has started and they might have experienced challenges, sometimes the challenges on the part of government for whatever, you can't disregard them. So those people should, that's why we've got this number saying we know there's 17,000 people who started the process. We know there's 26,000 people that we have gone to. And as we went to, we gave them forms, others returned them, others not, and all that. So it's part of the process. It's not like coming after the 28. That person has been part of the process before the 28. And their applications and the process they've started is regarded as within the 28 days. It's unlike someone waking up today and saying, I forgot, I want to come and register. Because from tomorrow, you'll see the police will be ready. We will be joining them. We'll invite you in some of this. We're going to close those Spaza shops. We'll be going to those Spaza shops. We'll be leading those raids with the police. MMC?
Yeah, I'll try to be brief on this one. Yeah, the point I was saying was that if you check on the requirements for one to secure a permit, there are different departments that must confirm that whether you've got the SARS certificate, whether you have the required document from the Home Affairs, whether somebody has submitted the building plans, whether somebody has submitted the zoning plan. After all has been checked, there is the last person who's supposed to say all departments have confirmed that this person meets all the requirements. Now you find that this department, okay, let's do this way. People apply individually, am I right? Because they own different businesses on their own. Now, you can't have a certain Mr. Kanzo now, he's now 300 alone, because then it means somebody has collected all this form from somewhere, submitted this official, knowing that this official will undermine the process, which is not acceptable. And I'm sure somewhere in the statement of the MEC did raise some of the things that we found. That is the meaning of that, because you apply individually. You don't apply as a group. Then it means this person took the form somewhere, then did all these other things. But the mistake he did, he also gave them letters of acknowledgement, which was not the role that you're supposed to be doing. This is the experience of Mfuleni with officials who are not doing the right things. Thank you.
Colleagues, thank you so much for coming. Those who want one-on-one with the MC, please step forward so that we arrange. But we'll meet you at 1.
Who's just want to complain about data and coffee? About data and coffee. There's no data here, there's no coffee.
There's no data here. And they never give you coffee.
Never. Yeah, that's why media don't want to come here.
Here they come.
So we come out of that for you. What we know by now is that about 4,610 certificates were issued as of the 28th of February. About 15,478 Spaza shops were found to be non-compliant. And the approved number of applications is lower than the applications that were received. And as you heard there as well, the MEC says non-compliance has been one of the issues they've been grappling with, and says municipalities are issuing temporary permits as well on this front, and says that more awareness is being spread in the form of imbizos, and says this process also remains open, but for those who want to start businesses and not those who are currently operating. And we leave it there for now.